Welcome back to Grounding Gods. It's so nice to have you. Let us see what Spirit wants us to be mindful about today. They're starting with the Secret Language Animals Oracle card deck, which they also use. I'm going to do this. There's two more first. Okay. Okay. So, they wanted me to use this again. They used it yesterday. So, and they're also using a second animal deck. So there's a lot of earth energy here. Okay, let's see what they want. 3. Okay. So there's one more for this deck. Okay. So let's put these to the side. Then the second deck is the Teote deck, which I do adore. It's a classic, like the Rider tarot deck. And they picked 2 tarot decks today. The Teote and the... Oh, yes. No, this is... I thought for a minute it was the Oracle. No, this is the Ethereal Visions Tarot, which is a beautiful deck. Okay. Let's see how many cards they want me to pull from here. 3 for this one. Whoop. That's number 2 for sure. And that is... Whoops, no. This is 3. Okay. Oh, wait, there's 4. Divine and Holy Spirit. Okay, that one was trapped under the last one I took. Okay. So they figured that out for us. All right. So the third deck they asked me to pull from today is the Kim Kranz archetypes, which they've been using a lot this week as well. But it's a wonderful deck and very deep and insightful. So I'm going to shuffle this a couple times before I ask them. Oh, this one wants to come out. Okay. He's saying, I got to come out. I got to come out. This one also wants to come out. This one? No. Okay. One more time. Divine Holy Spirit. 11. Okay. Well, yesterday they had me pull 8, and it was very insightful. So, okay. All right. All right, Spirit, you're the boss. Okay. This is 3, 4. Nope. Well, I'm saying be patient. Okay. 5. 6. Oh, something's in here. It just jumped out. This 6. 7. 8. Oh, 9's not in there. Oh, 9 is here. This is 9. And 11. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, they had me pull this Joy today and Dream and a Heart, which we'll see what that's all about. Okay, so the fourth deck of cards today, I have not used in a while, is the Spirit or Animal Oracle. Let me see what they want here. Just 3. Okay. That's 1. Nope. Two. And 3. Okay. All right. Put this to the side. And that one is by Colette Baron Reed. All right. This is the second tarot deck. Haven't used this one. I love the artwork on this one. Okay. This is just sticking out. Yep. Okay, how many? Just the 3. Okay, they already gave them to us, so that was nice. And last but not least, they summarized last night with this crystal deck. So, and actually it gave a beautiful summary and some lovely advice. So let's see how this comes together. Okay. Whoops. We'll take that one. Okay. 3. Okay, and just 3. So lots of days of 1. Okay, and that's it. Wow, well, he was ready to speak. Okay, and that is that. All right, so let's start our layout. Exactly the way they want it. All right. Sea turtle, beginnings, self-reliance, journey, and home. I love sea turtles. They're beautiful. He's got a lot of friends with him, too. Okay, dragonfly, magic, spontaneity, immediacy, and change. Oh, I love to watch dragonflies dance. Condor, cycles, reflection, perspective, and release. A lot of people don't like these predatory birds, but they have great purpose in the larger scheme of life. Okay, happiness. Well, that's coming right under joy. And then the Queen of Wands, very powerful. And the Hanged Man. Okay. Let's just take them the way they come. Oh, this one was the last one they on the end of the line yesterday. How interesting. They're starting with it this time. Oh, I leave it like that. This is the riddle. Looks like a Gordian knot. The orphan. Guess we'll have 2 lines of this. Kairos. The seed. Upside down. This is interesting. This was at the beginning yesterday. Aletheia. Okay. I'm going to move this right now, and we can bring it back in as it serves the reading. Just push this up so we can get this done quickly today. Yesterday it was a bit complex, the reading. You stay as you should be. All right. Okay, and then we have the temple. Gnosis. We're getting very deep. The sword. The tear. It's interesting. That looks like a medal, right? Like an old military medal. That's what it appears. But it's an eye with a emerald colored tear. And the threshold. At someone's feet. So at the threshold. Okay. Well, that lines up very nicely. And let's see what they're doing here. I might keep that to the side for a moment. All right. So we have flamingo, embrace the in-between. That's so funny. I was just going to say it looks like they're on the threshold of the abyss, but actually it looks like they're standing in the abyss and coming. But this is definitely on a threshold of the in-between. Look at that. And the butterfly spirit, we all know, is about transformation. And the wolf spirit. Okay, do I have a little bit more? Can I just push them up? I'm going to miss the numbers, but it should be okay for the reading. I can always pick them up as we go. I want to keep happiness there. I want to keep those words. And these words are important as well. Okay. Don't want them turning. And strength. The chariot. Usually symbolic of balance, the yin and the yang. Not so much in this deck. And then judgment. A calling. Kind of like the wolf that calls, right? And then I'll go through the crystals really quickly and then we'll take them. Oh my Lord. This was, wow. This cannot be. This cannot be. That's amazing. These two were in the last two readings, not as a summary. But these three were in the last reading. And I shuffle my decks. I do pre-shuffles, and you saw me shuffling. Wow, that's amazing that these are the three that came out. Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you what that means until we get to the end. All right, so are we in the picture? Is everybody in the picture? Not quite. Let's move it a little bit more, guys. Okay, then. All right. Well, I did the whole reading. I cleaned up my table. I put all the cards away. I shuffled all the decks for the next time they might be used. And I sat down to start putting, preparing it to load into YouTube. And my battery had died. So I had to dig through all of the decks of cards, get all the same cards out, and thank goodness I'd taken a screenshot for the thumbnail for YouTube, so I knew what the layout looked like. Anyway, so let's do this again, but it shall probably be a lot more condensed and shorter because I've already done the entire thing. So let's start, and I pray that I do it as well as I did the first time because it was actually a great reading, very interesting. Okay, so let's go. Sea turtle. Beginnings, right? Like the first steps of a journey. Now, the turtle doesn't really, you have land turtles. But usually the first steps, you see the little baby turtles going down the beach into the water. And the water, of course, is the realm of the emotions. But what we also see here is we see a bunch of fish. And when I pulled the cards, the first thing I thought when I saw this card, and I think I mentioned it, was all these little friends he's got. But they're very different than him. So I was thinking that maybe this is depicting you within a group and you're the leader. You have the face here of the turtle in the light, and also there's a depiction here of indigenous art, which makes me feel that this group is kind of your tribe. Or maybe you've just found your tribe, you're just beginning, you've just taken your first steps to join a new group of some type or form a new group of some type. And that's the significator card. So let's see what the rest of the the first deck is usually what they're going to be talking about. So let's see the rest of those and see how they go together. So the second card is the dragonfly. And this dragonflies, I don't know if you've seen them I'm sure you've seen them, but I used to live someplace where they used to come together in hordes. I don't know, it was like 30 to 50 of them. I don't know if it was mating season or whatever. Anyway, and they would be dancing all around, and they don't dance or swim like a turtle, which is very slow and peaceful. They're very versatile, and they can go from like fly or jump vertically and horizontally, and they're really fascinating to watch. But in many cultures, they signify good omens, of course, and they're connected in many cultures and spiritual traditions to the mystical realm, right? The higher frequencies and higher level of consciousness, which brings us to the condor, which is about cycles and release. So you have a beginning in some sort of group, some aspect of you in this group. It is in which, since you're in the light here and the light here, it's kind of your, like I said, they're kind of looking to you or following you. But yet there's something here that needs to be released. So these were the significator cards, and this comes together as the introduction to the reading. So then let's follow through and see what Spirit wants to say specifically about this. So happiness, right? So they asked us to pull this little joy card, which actually was in one of my kids' rooms today. And this is interesting. This is a lot of fulfillment. It's at the level 9, and if you know anything about tarot, many of the suits go to level 10, and then they have, of course, the page, the knight, the king, the queen, just like a regular deck of cards. So this isn't quite 10. There's still a piece missing, right? There's still one more level. But the level you're at here in the cups, this has to do with emotions, which goes back to the water with the turtle taking a journey, an emotional journey here. There seems to be one step left in this ascension. So it looks like they're saying that you have done a lot of work on yourself, and that you have really evolved as a person, especially within some relationships, maybe old or new. Could be old also. It could be family, but since the fish are so different than the turtle, I'm thinking it's a friend, or maybe a business, or it could be a nonprofit type of business environment. Anyway, when you're at this level, and this is feminine energy too, the cups, the water, it's a receptive energy, so it's also attracts. So I feel like they're saying you're attracting, with the work you've done and the evolution you had, the way you have evolved thus far, that you're finding a lot more joy in your life. However, going into the Queen of Wands, now the Queen is also a water aspect, right? She's also the divine feminine. But in the Wands, this has to do with action and very high levels of energy and leadership. So again, we see this idea of leadership where you're the leader, right? But there's also, you see how this is very jagged. There are times when this queen is triggered, right? She's not always happy. And somehow this is connected to this group somehow, not individual, at least several in this group trigger you at times. And I feel like that is the missing step. You know, from the 9 to the 10 of cups, that this is the missing piece. And when you go right into the hangman, you see that this hangman is a little bit different than a lot of them. Most hangmen look very peaceful, but this one has actually been crucified. So this is with the Egyptian symbol here. This could be Osiris, or maybe a depiction of Christ of some type. But anyway, there's definitely suffering here of some type. So they're trying to tell you that you need, with the normal hangman, they're saying that you need to take some time, and it might be a struggle for you to control whatever this trigger is, the thing that takes you out of this, your joy and your happiness on occasion. Like, again, I want to say, and I said, I made a point of this in the first time I read it, was that they're not saying that you're not like this most of the time. Most of the time, you are like this. But there's something that has to be released. There's something that is important. They wouldn't be doing this reading if it wasn't important. So let's continue. All right? So you're going to have to, there's times you're going to have to sacrifice for the good of the whole. Right? And that goes right into the heart. Now, this card symbolizes, obviously, love and compassion, but it particularly symbolizes, you see there's two people here. And so this symbolizes day-to-day affairs that sometime, life, especially if you're a leader of some type, it could be in a family again, but I don't get the feeling of that. I get the feeling it's some other type of friend group or nonprofit or charity, or maybe you're doing something on the internet, who knows. But the compassion, you're losing your connection to this at times, to your compassionate and empathetic side. And they're telling you, it looks like, that this has passed your mind. This is bad. You see 2 hands reaching in and then 2 hands clasping together. So it looks like you have thought about how to bring these differences with others together, but this is saying that you cannot do this with your intellectual mind. And since there's so much about the emotional body here, right? All of these talking about the emotional body and the spiritual body, they're talking about, yes, going back and in contemplation, right? Not the intellectual mind, but to sit back and reflect, to go slow and reflect on this. Because, we're living in an age where the world is more connected through platforms like this one, where we're connecting, but yet we're really not together, and we're not physically together. So the world right now is kind of suffering from, it's going through a kind of a worldwide orphanage phase, where people are feeling more and more alone and are wanting to find ways to connect. It's really important to people. And this card is also talking about the fact that you really have something special. You have something special. You have something very special to offer these people. That will probably bring them a lot of joy as well. I mean, maybe this has been a dream of yours for some time. Whatever this leadership role or group endeavor is. And then in the sword, I found this, the reading I had before it was lined up. When it came out, it was the sword went straight from here up into her staff. So, oh, excuse me. That is actually the next line. And I digress because I need to talk to you about Kairos. Now, Kairos is going back to the mystic. So we have mystical energy. And this is mystical time. So what is mystical time? Mystical time is when you get in the car, you drive an hour every day to work, you're commuting, you leave your house, you remember saying goodbye to your partner and your kids, and you drive an hour, you walk into your office, you sit down at your desk like a robot, and you realize, oh my goodness, I can't even remember the drive here. Now, of course, you didn't get in an accident, but that's mystical time. That's mystic time, where there's kind of like a time warp and you're kind of in a different dimension. It can happen at any time that, let's see, other things would be if you're, in a slow, sensual kiss with your loved one. Things like this where time kind of stops or time passes and you're completely unaware of it, this type of thing. And it has to do with being aware also of serendipitous events in your life. So I think what this is talking about is that because it's not upright, like this one's upright and this one was just showing us the two trying to make, you trying to connect with the other. So I don't think there's much of an issue there. But already being aware of it to a certain degree. But this is saying that you need to be more aware of when serendipitous events occur that allow you to step into this new beginning, this new journey, this new leadership role within this group. And I think it's, and somehow you're inspirational to these people. I mean, that is what your, the special gift you is. Something about you will be very inspiring to these people. And this is a seed. This could be the dream. This could be a dream of yours. And you see this is upside down, which you haven't planted yet. Maybe you've thought about it. But this one aspect of self is still blocking you because this is right below this. So you see this seed is kind of like an acorn in a tree, and then you have the rings of trees, and how many some of the trees grow for hundreds of years, right? And every ring tells a story. Well, they're saying that this is something that when you plant it will develop into something that brings you great joy, right? A dream that's going to bring you great joy. But you have to make that first step, right? You have to dive into the water, so to speak, here. And here, this is underscoring the fact that you need to be honest with yourself about, it's wonderful that you're this person. You must be very inspirational, right? You're bringing all this joy to all these people. But You have to be honest. There's something that still needs to be released. It still needs to be eradicated, despite all the work. And according to this reading so far, the amount of work you've done is quite substantial, and you are probably a very enlightened person who your energy is such that you probably do radiate a lot of joy, which probably does attract a lot of followers. That could be on or off social media. It could be any. I mean, you could be a writer. I don't know, right? Only you know that. But if you want to tell me in the comments, I would love to hear. Anyway, so we go right on to the temple, and this is talking about, again, yes, you can go to the temple, you can go to the church, you can go to the mosque, you can have a Hindu altar in your home. However, we should also be grateful for the people in our lives, even the ones that aren't perfect, right? We should, pray for, send blessings to, send our energy to, even to the ones that drive us a little bit crazy. What is the saying? Bless the bad as well as the good, right? So, Spirit here is trying to tell you that when you are triggered, that you need to remember that these people, these souls, right? Everybody has a purpose. Everyone is in a different stage, a different, like the dragonfly, a different stage and level of evolution. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that. And not let people who are not at your level trigger you. Now, this is mysticism, right? We're talking about gnosis. We're talking about the spiritual world. The flower is flying. Oh, sure, that reminds me of this card and this card, which is telling you that it's really, again, it is not your intellectual self that's going to help you here to overcome this, to achieve your dream, whatever it is it has to do with these other people. It's your spirit, it's your spiritual evolution. You see how this bird is flying back up, which is telling you that the sword that you need to know as a leader, you see how the sword's going straight up to the staff? Well, I mentioned that before. As a leader, you need to know when to judge somebody harshly and when to be charitable. Sometimes people do deserve, judgment. That's for another video. I don't want to get into that right now. But sometimes people deserve mercy. So if you're really if your dream is to be this leader, you need to know when that is. And that comes from understanding that everyone's journey is different. Not everyone is meant to be a leader. But everyone has something special to give to the whole. Right? The world, everyone has something special to give. And to be grateful for everyone. And here it talks about how, see, this is upside down again. this is talking about how this eye and this tear and this darkness, that you need to learn how to let, when this happens, and again, I don't want to be harping on this. I mean, Spirit is not saying that, because they're very impressed with you, and they wouldn't be giving you this message if they weren't impressed with you. They just want you to help you get to this dream you have. So they're saying that you have to let go. When this issue arises, you have to let your ego go. Doesn't mean you have to have a big crying fest or some big drama with these people, but you have to lower your, this, when this arises, that's from your ego. So you have to turn this around and let your guard down and open your heart to them, right? This is all about opening your heart to these people. Look at that. That's interesting. So, which brings us to the threshold, which when I first laid this sorry, it's getting very late. When I first laid this card out, I really thought they were, you were jumping into the abyss. But now that I look at this, it's really talking about you being in the abyss. Now, again, you see it's a smaller portion. It's not the big part. This is the big part of your life, right? But there's this small part that you need to release. So they say you're right on the threshold. You can turn this around. You just have to take that first step. You just have to take that first splash, right? And embrace the in-between. Perfect. Embrace the in-between. So even though you've had such a journey already, and that you're already dancing in the light, I mean, you're surrounded by very good energy. You have very seldom have this toxic energy, right? So, but they're saying, I mean, you already know, if you've come this far, that to embrace the in-between, to embrace the transformation. Now they're starting to sum up. To embrace this transformation, because the transformation, it's not just the end, it's not just the dream. I mean, that's beautiful and joyous, but it's the actual journey, right? It's this entire journey that actually made you this and will continue to bring you ever higher. And then the call of the wolf, right? The call of the wolf. When the heart beats with the pack. When your heart beats with the pack, right? Turn your knowledge into wisdom, not your intellect. I mean, this is an animal. I mean, this is an apex predator, right? A leader, right? The alpha dog. But this dog it doesn't work on intellect. Intellect doesn't solve everything. Heart and using your intuition, that's wisdom. Wisdom is not knowledge. Wisdom is action. It's acting with heart, right? Knowing when to be merciful. And here we go. So here we go. Here's strength. Now she's symbolizing, look at her, what she's symbolizing. I mean, she's the dichotomy of this. She is the dichotomy. This is what they're asking you to become. You have to have inner strength, right? Don't react. Inner strength, don't react. You need to be patient, meditate, and have compassion. And don't react. The Chariot. You have to get control of the reins, right? your positive and your negative, your feminine and your masculine side. You can't let go of the reins. No matter how wonderful you are most of the time, to reach this dream, right? To reach that dream, you have to have complete control. It doesn't mean you'll never be emotional, you know. Everybody has that, but you won't be it won't be towards these people that need your mercy. And judgment. So yeah, Spirit is exactly what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying, if you want to get to the next step, the only way up, right? The only way up is to do as they're recommending. Otherwise, you'll be left, right? And then the crystals, which is their final say. The pink granite is exactly that. Something has to die and has to be left behind, which is this release, which is exactly going back to the beginning of the reading. And then the rainbow Mayanite. The rainbow Mayanite is the rainbow bridge, which connects the physical realm to the spiritual realm, which is what a lot of cultures and a lot of spiritual beliefs from around the world believe that the dragonfly symbolizes. Those are basically synonyms of each other. So they're tying the reading together by saying that you have to stay elevated even when you feel this pressure rising up, right? Even when you're feeling like you might emotionally explode or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. That's up to you to know what this emotion is that's being triggered. So just forget I even said that. But I'm sure, like I said, you're a wonderful person. But I'm just trying to interpret exactly what I see Spirit guiding you to. Oh, and that makes complete sense because this has to do, the Malachite is about toxic emotions. So they say, you have to clean up these toxic emotions. It might be difficult. It could be very difficult to do so, but don't forget to embrace the in-between. Embrace the hanging upside down. That the transformation is the beautiful part. And I think what they were saying here along this column, and I like how these colors, they're pulling this together. I think, this is great advice, is just, bless the trigger. Bless the person who's triggering you. Sometimes sometimes you go out in public and some people are just not in their best. And for me, I use that. I just think in my head, bless the bad as much as the good. And you would be amazed at how it can quell any kind of rising emotions, especially if you've been out all day and it's been a hectic day or a very busy day or a chaotic day and you're just tired. And that's when, if you're usually here, that's usually the only time something like this will happen. And especially if you're taking care of lots of people, that can happen. So, I'll leave you with that one because that actually helps me a lot. But I just want to say, Spirit, thank you so much for this beautiful message. And thank you so much for caring to help us And I want to say thank you, the viewers who come and listen. And next time you need guidance of any kind, please come join us again. We'd love to have you. Okay, well, bye bye now.